Hey there, it's Lauren, owner of Imagined Awakenings, and I am ready to get creative with some resin. As always, please remember safety first. Always use your safety gear when working with epoxy resin and work within a well ventilated area. Alright, so on this one, let me just warn you ahead of time. Whole bunch of drama. So this one, I just got this Chameleon powder colorant in from I think Let's Resin, and so I decided to brush or paint whatever the inside of the mold with the colorant. I just like the Chameleon colors better so far when they're painted onto the mold and you pour the resin in, but I am also going to do the other mold with I'm not going to paint it into the mold. I'm just going to put it into the resin to see how that goes. So we'll see those effects at the end. But anyway, that's what I'm doing here. Just taking my paintbrush and the powder and dusting the inside of the mold. It's kind of deep, so I was just trying to go through and make sure I got it all over everywhere. I didn't want any bare spots because that wouldn't be cool. All right, so next, I just like to kind of clean off everything. Usually I dump it over and pat it, but it's kind of hard with those kind of molds, so I don't know if I did that. So here, I like to add my colorants to the cup ahead of time. I like for everything to be prepared before I actually start pouring resin, because you know you've got a limited time once you pour and mix. So here I'm just adding mica powders and glitters and colorants to my cups so that once I get everything mixed in, I can just go. All right, so here I am pouring. As I usually discuss, I usually pour part B first and then part A. That's actually the manufacturer's recommendations for this particular resin. And I think it's partially just because pouring the thicker part into the looser parts makes for easier combination and less bubbles. I also warm each jug up in some warmish water before I pour. It just makes everything more fluid and it combines easier and also less bubbles because that's what we want, less bubbles. So I stir for 6 minutes. I usually just put a timer on like a microwave or a phone. No, usually not the phone because I'm using it to record, but usually the microwave. Just 6 minutes is what they recommend for a good stir and combination. And once that's done, I go ahead and proceed. So there, what you're seeing me, I'm still experimenting. This is the final stages of the Mermaid sculptures. And so what I'm doing is I'm using resin as glue. So I had looked it up to confirm, but you can do this. And I'm just taking a little bit of resin and kind of smearing it across the bottom of the mermaid tails and sticking it on top of the circular piece. So we'll see how that goes at the end. Next, I'm just filling up my cups with resin and stirring in my colorants. So I wanted something glittery and sparkly. I am doing Mandala's coasters for the first time. And so with this one, I just wanted a pretty mixture of like a translucent-ish blue with some sparkle and purple mica. So that's what I'm doing here. And what I saw them do in kind of they give you the snippet of a video sometimes on Amazon is they went over it with liquid colorant to define, like in a contrasting color to sort of define the detail in the mandala. So we're going to try that. So here, the first mold I poured, I mixed the Chameleon colorant into the cup and poured it in, and then on the other, like it's a flower shaped mold, I guess, I just did a colorant. I just poured mica with I think it was black mica powder in it, and then I had a bunch left over after I poured the mandalas and everything else, and so I filled up one of those crystal molds that I swore I'd never use again, but I've still been using, and an ashtray, just waste not, want not. So all of the rest of the colorant that I had left went into the ashtray. I actually like doing that. It just gives me a cool, unique look that I usually wouldn't go for. It's just a surprise. I like surprises, mostly. Okay, so I'm going to hit everything with the heat gun. just to get out the bubbles and, you know, smooth everything out, you know how I do. And then once that's done, the pieces usually sit overnight, and I come back in the morning and I demold. So here, what I'm wanting to do is attempt the we're gonna put some colorant. Okay, this is where the drama comes in. Let me just skip. This is where the drama comes in. So when I was looking at the video and stuff in Amazon, I saw that they were using some kind of liquid colorant to help define the mandala details. When I had looked at the question and answer, y'all, they had said that I should use a pigment paste. They're full of lies. They're big fat liars. They're liars. I wish I could go back and tell them what big huge liars they were. Okay, so anyway, here you'll see me struggling with this pigment paste that really, she did not use that much in her in her video. So I was trying to figure out why it seemed like it was taking me so much pigment paste to like cover the detail. Like you can kind of see the detail coming out as I use my paintbrush and spread this sticky tacky stuff all over my coaster. So anyway, I took a paintbrush and then I might have tried something else and gone back to the paint, maybe a stick or something, and then went back to the paintbrush. Like I was struggling, y'all. I did. I took a popsicle stick and then I was like, no, maybe let's just go back to the paintbrush. And I was struggling. Like the struggle was real. I know I say that all the time, but like I legit meant it this time. So they didn't really even give any good instructions, like how long you supposed to wait, like what you supposed to do here. Like you spread this stuff on there and then what? You wipe it off. But like how long you supposed to wait before you wipe it off? Okay, look. Go ahead and judge. It's fine. I really know that I should have just went to the YouTube for answers. I know this. I don't even know what I was thinking. I wasn't thinking, apparently. So I should have gone to YouTube for answers because YouTube knows everything. I did not go to YouTube for answers, and I struggled with the stupid paste. Okay, the paste actually is a good thing, just not for this, because I've used it for colorants and other things and it's given me some magnificent results. Okay, so it turned out to be sort of a blessing in disguise that I bought the pigment, just not for this. Okay, so like you can't see it from that angle, but it's like it does not look good, y'all. It was like all smeared looking, and yeah, it's not a thing. So foolishly, I tried it on a second coaster. Like, what? You didn't ruin enough coasters, you had to ruin 2 coasters? Yes, Lauren, we had to ruin 2 coasters. So I'm sitting here like, why is it taking like half a bottle to do these 2 coasters? Like, this is gonna be an expensive project. It's taking all this color. Like, seriously, y'all. Again, these mandalas have tested like every last bit of patience that I've had, because like they made it look so easy. Don't ever trust Amazon. That's all I'm saying. Go to the YouTube. That's where all the experts are. Go there. Okay, so anyway, I tried it again with the second one, and somewhere in there when I was trying to accomplish this technique, I just realized it was not a thing. It was not happening. I was like, let me go back to the drawing board. Okay, so I had went to the YouTube like I should have done the first time, and found that people actually use acrylic paint to do this instead, because it slides into the creases and crevices much easier, because you know it's a thinner paint than that thick resin colorant paste stuff. I should have known. So anyway, I had a ton of acrylic paint because I used to use it when I used to buy unfinished molds and paint those and do other kinds of festive crafty things that I don't do anymore. But I have like a box full of these little paints. So I was like, we're going to try that instead, because that was what the YouTube people had said. So what you see me doing there is just applying like a pool of colorant and then dumping some glitter in there just for, you know, extra sparkle, because who doesn't like that? And then just, I took a glove, because I think that was what I saw them do, and I just smeared all over with my finger. I think maybe you might supposed to let it dry some. I can't remember now. I was so fed up with life that I just kind of was like, whatever. So you're supposed to let it dry some, I believe, and then wipe it off. So here are the fresh ones that I did not ruin with that stupid pigment paste stuff. And can you tell I feel a little bitter about it? I do. There's some bitterness happening. Okay, so anyway, so here I've taken it and just put it on the fresh coasters that I did not put the pigment paste on, and tested it out. Same technique. Got my gloved hand. I've taken this little scraper here because that's what the lady in the YouTube video did, and I think it's just supposed to help kind of make sure you scoop the colorant into the you know, the creases and the indentations, and make sure that, just trying to get them all filled up. So last coaster, gonna rub all that in and get that gold in there. I really like contrasting colors. That's kind of the idea you want there, because you just really want that to pop once you wipe the coloring off of the surface, and it just kind of leaves it in those few spaces where the details are. I know English, I swear. Okay, so moving along, I'm taking my little scraper and I'm just trying to help with the fine details. They had said that you could use a baby wipe to wipe it off, but I feel like, I don't know if it's just I got a cheap mold, y'all, or what, but I felt like that was kind of leaving strings and unattractive things behind. And maybe that was just on the ones that had the pigment paste. Maybe I could try it again, just using the acrylic colorants. I don't know. But here I just got a towel that I don't really care about. You know, a hand towel that I don't really care about. Wet it, and then I just kind of wiped it down. I did wait till it dried some, so it took a little bit of elbow grease to get it off. But this yielded far better results, okay, than that pigment paste foolishness that just hurt all of my feelings, because you know what, there's a lot of resin that went into those molds. Okay, anyway, so I just took my towel and just went around and wiped off all the excess paint, and as you can see, it's just leaving it in the detail, which is where I want it, and it just gives this this beautiful effect with the contrasting color once you've kind of wiped it all off. And so you'll get a close-up at some point, maybe now, I don't know. So I decided that I was going to try it with these. Remember, these are the ones that I already had the pigment paste on the bottom, so I tried to see if it would work, just putting the acrylic paint on top of that and kind of letting it all dry. I'll just give this spoiler, it did not work. I think it was because that pigment paste had cemented itself in there by that time, and it just looked horrendous, me trying to salvage these coasters. And so I didn't, long story short is I did not try to salvage them after I just realized that it was just turning into an incredibly terrible tragedy. I just threw them out. Boop, there they went. So this is what it looks like with the acrylic paint. And I felt like they could have been better. I know I'm a terrible perfectionist. I'm trying to work on it, but I've struggled with a bit with the look. So anyway, that blue one was the one where I dusted the mold with the Chameleon powder. And then this one, this goldishy one, whatever color you want to call it, rose something, rose gold maybe, I don't know, was the one where I put it directly into the resin. Both beautiful results. And then here is the crystal mold, Tealight mold that I said I would never use again. I'm a liar, because I've used it again several times. Okay, so, and I left out the ashtray. Oh well, it turned out pretty. And then those are the mermaids, which I was really actually happy with the results of those. My friend bought them before they could ever hit my store. So thanks for coming by. I hope you enjoyed. Subscribe if you liked what you saw.